Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday, September 27th edition of the SIG Contributor Experience meeting. I'm your host, Kazan Fields, and a reminder, we do operate under a code of conduct, which essentially says to be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. Speaking of stickers, I need to get some made. I'm going to put that on my to-do list right now. But before we get started today, before we hop into our regular agenda, we usually like to offer an opportunity here at the beginning of the meeting for anyone who's new to the call to unmute and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here, or you can post it in the chat, or you don't have to do anything at all. It's totally optional. If anyone new to the meeting would like to say hello.
I know everyone on this call, so but hi anyway. I'm Xander. I think I do actually know everyone here. I have been involved in the Contributor Summit for the last 3 events, and I am just looking to get a little bit more involved with the core SIG itself and find out where I can help. So that is why I'm here. I am often triple booked during this meeting, but I am choosing to prioritize this meeting for the foreseeable future so that I can get a little more involved here, because I think the SIG does important stuff. So that's that. Hello.
Welcome. We're excited to have you. Anyone else would like to say hello?
Hey, I'm Ankriti. I have joined this meeting for the first time. Hi, hello. So yeah, sorry I can't come on video right now. It's
okay.
Having bandwidth. So yeah, I have been working. I mean, I am working on one of the issue in SIG CLI, but I was also looking into chats of the SIG, and I find it interesting, and I would like to just dropping in for the first time and trying to understand what really happens here, and I maybe if something is interesting, I can probably up with you guys and maybe get some class to look into here as well. Yeah, that's all.
Welcome. We're glad to have you. Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Akshat. So I've been hearing about SIG ContribEx every time. So I just wanted to know what is this about and maybe be of some use. So yeah.
Welcome.
I'm new to Kubernetes community. So
we love it to see it. So I'll give a little brief overview of the SIG then. To start out. So I'm Kazan Fields. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Special Interest Group for Contributor Experience. As Contributor Experience is our focus, we do a lot of things throughout the community regarding processes for how contributors do their work, as well as things that kind of generally relate to the experience of being a contributor, like putting on the contributor summits at KubeCon. We have a whole bunch of sub-projects that focus in various areas of this mission, including events, which would be the Contributor Summit, mentoring, the comms sub-project, which is I'm also a sub-project lead of, contributor documentation, more specific than just general documentation, but documentation for contributors, moderation and media, so Zoom, Slack, and YouTube moderation falls under our purview. GitHub management, working with the GitHub team and developing processes and tools for our use of GitHub across the project. And elections is also a sub-project of ours, and we'll hear updates from all of these sub-projects today. So for new folks looking to get involved, you'll probably want to check in with the relevant sub-projects that are most relevant to your interests. If I may put forward a ad for comms, we meet regularly on Fridays and we're very active, and we have a number of projects. Especially right now, we have 2 projects going on that are very welcoming for new contributors. Writing posts, which we will then actually send during KubeCon, so you don't have to worry about the sending part. You would just write posts for us, and we have guides on how to do that. And then our other project that we have going on right now is the SIG Spotlight blog series, which is one that we always have going on, where you would interview the chairs of a SIG about what their SIG does, and then you would write a blog post about what you learned. So you can talk with us more about that in the SIG ContribEx comms channel or in our regular meetings on Friday. Anyone else want to say anything about the SIG for our new folks before we dive into our agenda? All right. Sounds like folks are good with my description. I think that is another merit badge on my SIG co-chair sash, which I still need to actually make. So let's dive into our regular agenda then. We're going to start off with updates from events. Contributor Summit. I believe, Xander, you're in charge of that. I'm kidding.
Hello.
Hello.
Everything seems to be going well right now. We have a lot of things locked. We figured out sort of scheduling. Kaylin got all of that together for the speakers, and I think acceptances should be going out soon. We're getting very close to confirming a venue for the celebration. And so planning for that is happening as well. We've ordered t-shirts for contributors. We're figuring out all the badges and pin stuff for the Meet the Kubernetes contributors. I lost it. Sorry. Community. Oh, there we go.
I mean, we're still thinking it's Mortal Kombat. It's okay.
Yes, the Mortal Kombat Community College. And yeah, everything is ticking over pretty smoothly. There are some opportunities for help potentially, but overall things seem to be going relatively smoothly. Am I forgetting anything, Josh? Nope. All right, great.
CFP closed.
Right.
CFP closed. Yeah, well, no, I'm saying the schedule, the speakers have already been chosen.
Yeah.
Like, so the acceptances are about to go out. And so the unconference is the last bit left. So yeah.
The big thing is making sure that people at this point know about it and actually go to register if they're planning on
Right.
attending. Because of the KubeCon Chicago schedule, we're not really sure how many people to expect because it's sort of maximal conflict this year. And
Right.
we'd like to get a better idea of how many people to expect.
Yeah, so we can talk to comms Avanesh to get some more communications out, figure out what we need to do on that front. But yeah, that's all I have.
Excellent. Help comes to help with registration. Also, if anyone would particularly like to help do notes, help welcome. So we've got the CFP is closed, t-shirts are ordered, meet the contributor community, meet the Kubernetes contributor community event, which is the renamed SIG meet and greet. Planning is ongoing. Unconference is still a remaining thing. The social is still interested in some help, right?
Yeah, I think right now it may be set. There's a chat that should spring up soon. I haven't seen it come up yet. But yeah, we might be set there.
Okay. So social planning still in progress is what I'll say.
Yeah, definitely.
And interested in comms to help with registration.
Yeah.
Noted. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, other stuff on the Contributor Summit? All right, then. I think we're good there. We'll move on to mentoring. Any updates for mentoring? The usual silence. All right.
The customized one still seems to be going well. So
Okay. That's a good note. Customize cohort seems to be going well. Lovely. All right, then the next item is contributor comms, which looks like it's me today. I don't get to make that joke at Chris today. So as I mentioned, we have our KubeCon. I keep having to switch my language. KubeCon post planning project underway. We have a number of new contributors to that already, which is lovely. I'm trying to train several folks on how to run that project. I didn't mention it earlier, maybe I did, but I will be out for 2.5, 3 weeks in October, right before KubeCon, because that's a great idea. So trying to make sure that there are folks who will be around to answer questions and help lead that project while I'm out. I have told them that I expect when I get back, the tweets should already, or the posts should already have been completed and hopefully scheduled. So if you're interested in contributing to that project, we need contributions to that now. Let us know in SIG ContribEx comms in the channel, and we'll hook you up with all you need to know. Questions always welcome. We have quite a few Spotlight blogs in progress, which is always lovely. We're still looking into adding LinkedIn as a social media platform posting medium. We noted that there was an existing Kubernetes like org, whatever you call them, in LinkedIn. So we reached out to the owners of that to see if we could reuse that. But then I was talking with my shadow for social media lead, and he pointed out that we should probably just use the Kate's contributors name for the group within LinkedIn, because that's what we use everywhere else. So we're probably going to create our own group in LinkedIn if we think that LinkedIn is a good idea, which we're leaning toward yes. Feedback on that welcome. Use Kate's contributors group name. Other stuff in comms. Anything you can think of, Avinash? Avinash is our sub-project lead shadow, so we're working on having him get ready to take on that role as well. Anything you can think of, Avinash?
I think we were discussing to archive the contributor tweets.
That is important. Yeah, so if you've been around for a while, you may be familiar with our contributor tweets repo, which the comms team has owned for a couple of years now. The idea of that was to provide a way for contributors to use their familiar GitHub workflows to write tweets that would then be posted on Twitter. There were a number of problems with that process. One, you basically can't include scheduling information in there. You basically have to approve the PR in GitHub when you want the thing to go out. So that was always a little bit tricky. Also, it's often broken. We're relying on a project called Twitter Together for the functionality of that. And like we said, it can't do the scheduling, which they'll probably never implement. And, you know, things change. We have to go fix things. So it's always something to take care of. And at this point, we have Buffer instead, which allows us to actually schedule things. It allows us to post across platforms. It's the better tool for our work. So we are planning to deprecate the contributor tweets repository. We need guidance on how exactly we should do that, archiving the repo or whatever the process is there. And we will focus instead on using Buffer. And if anyone in the community needs help with posts, then they should just talk with us directly and we'll get those scheduled. GitHub admins do it. Appreciate that. That would be lovely. So Jay, yes, our tech lead. You're talking, but you're on mute.
Oops, sorry. So I found some instructions of how to do that, to archive a repo in Kate's.dev repo. So for that, I created the issue in the community/org repo.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Bob said that he could also help with that. So FYI, Bob, there is a
I'm a
PR.
GitHub admin, so
Yeah.
it would probably be assigned to me anyway. I just haven't gotten a chance to look at it.
Yeah. So if you can find the link to that issue, you might want to share it with Bob.
Yeah, I got it open already. Don't worry.
Oh,
I'm
perfect.
just archiving it now.
Wonderful. We've already started removing references to it in our team's documentation. Lovely. Other things that anyone thinks we should talk about from comms, or any questions, comments, concerns?
Just to mention, because I think almost all of the former Summit leads are on this call right now. One of the Spotlight blogs is about that topic, so Federico may be reaching out to the previous leads to sanity check, just so you know.
Very excited about that one, and the book club one, which eventually you will get around to probably. We're also doing a couple of Spotlight blogs on the release team right now. Yeah, I'm excited about this. We're doing SIG release, and we're doing one for the release team as a sub-project and one for release engineering as a sub-project. So should be exciting. All right. Are there any other questions or comments about comms? Feel free to share anytime. In a series on SIG API, maybe. We've got a couple others as well. Oh, I don't remember exactly what they are right now. But we have a board where we track them all. If you're ever interested, we can point you that way. Also, you'll see them come out as they come out, hopefully. All right. So we'll move on from comms to contributor documentation. Updates on the contributor guide?
So bringing in something from outside, working with tag contributor strategy, there is once again, trying to spin the non-code project back up again. We are at the point of scheduling meetings, and as usual, everyone that showed interest has failed to respond on the doodle poll for when a good time to meet is. So I linked in the notes where a poll is. If you're interested, please join in the poll. Part of the goal is an advisory doc, but also part of it is to revisit the non-code contribution guide that we did maybe last week, maybe 12 years ago. I don't know at this point, because time has no meaning. But that's happening.
2018. That's a number. For Kubernetes only or CNCF projects overall?
Both. That is the goal, is to do it both more generally and more specifically at the same time.
Lovely. So non-code contribution guide, CNCF, and Kubernetes specific scopes. Anything else about that project you want to share in case folks are interested?
We're going to be figuring out the scope once the meetings start.
Perfect. So if you're interested in non-code contribution and supporting non-code contribution, this is an opportunity for you to get involved. Do check out the doodle poll, which is in the notes. Anything else on contributor documentation? Where's that GitHub Spaces stuff?
It's complicated right now.
Okay. Noted. The comms team brings it up in every meeting. Pretty sure that I've mentioned that in every one of these meetings as well. So we just want to keep an eye out for that so that we can spread the word if and when it ever gets sorted. All right. Nothing else on contributor documentation? Okay. We're gonna, yeah, thank you for doing notes. Moving on to moderation and media. More Nigel.
Hello. No big updates. Things seem to be ticking over smoothly. No news is good news. Ready to onboard more SIGs. So if you know a SIG that would like to use the automation that we spun up on Zapier as opposed to displaying stuff, let me know. We'll get them onboarded.
SIG etcd would like to get on the automation as soon as they can.
Yeah, have them hit me up.
That one will actually be interesting because they have their own YouTube channel, I believe. And
okay.
we are not plugged into that. Like there's no automation, like there's no Kubernetes admin or YouTube admins in the etcd. You know what I mean?
I mean, that would obviously, the admin thing would be fixable. The question is whether or not that makes the automation more complicated.
It doesn't make it any more complicated. It's the same level of complexity. It's just plugging it into a different YouTube channel. You know, it's just authing and Zapier essentially.
Okay. I'll start a thread
The issue
yeah,
is that if somebody's not over there monitoring it, and like when the videos get uploaded and need to be made live, that manual step that happens at the end, then like it might be a worse solution for them. It's like if it's coming into our channel, like I check it regularly and get our YouTube videos posted, so forth and so on.
Right now we're posting them completely manually, so it hardly seems like more work.
I think we could probably turn off the, go into essentially the mod queue and just publish the etcd ones live.
Okay.
It's only like one, you know what I mean?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start a thread so that Marek or Winja actually add the YouTube admins to the channel.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Also, Sujay, Nigel Sujay.
Hi.
Introductions. Sujay is our tech lead for the Calm sub project. So I think Sujay, you're interested in learning more about the Zapier stuff. So Nigel is who you would work with to learn more about that, aside from Chris. Bob, you were going to say something?
Before you start adding all the YouTube admins, most of the YouTube admins are not active.
Yeah, we should clean that list up.
Same thing for Slack.
Yeah.
Just it's less people being added that won't actually do anything.
Yeah, I'm down. I feel like there's two people who do things currently in the tag, but I also feel like one time we cleaned it up and I removed somebody and I forgot who it was, but they were like, actually, I need it for this thing that I didn't realize was the thing that was happening. So very happy to like nuke the list, but yeah, just don't want to interrupt anybody's workflow.
One way to find out what's happening.
Maybe I can find my old PRs and then see which one went back. I think I made that PR. I don't remember.
That also sounds like if folks are interested in helping with administration, it sounds like maybe we could use some help there.
Yeah, turn it off and listen for screams. Yeah, why not?
Noted. We can talk about that more another time. Yeah. Kind of the way to do it. All right. Anything else on moderation and media?
I don't have anything.
Only those things, just a little bit of stuff.
Very tentatively, as soon as I get the round to it, so it'll probably be next week, we're gonna go through the Slack admins and do an overhaul, because at this point we have, I think, a majority of inactive Slack admins, which is, among other things, causing some issues because new Slack issues in K community get assigned to people who are no longer active. And then after that, we need to go on a recruiting drive for new active Slack admins.
On the plus side, it's like we
Yeah.
shouldn't need nearly as much now that we have the full automation stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we still could use, like, say, 3 more active people.
Oh yeah.
Because we've had a couple of times when non-urgent requests have languished for literally weeks because Bob and I and Noah were all busy at the same time.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Keep us informed on how we can help.
Actually, one other Slack thing, as a FYI. So with these fun new updates that Slack pushed out, you probably want to go in and look at their new privacy settings that they've added, because the way it is right now, essentially they will share your contact information with your contacts, and other people can basically share that sort of stuff for you to see like which other Slacks you are in.
Yeah, I think we should consider putting out an announcement on Slack.
Yeah.
Because it's just a couple of things you have to turn off, but you have to turn them off because they're on by default.
And the last thing like this that they opted in everyone into, you could see everyone's other contact information in the other Slacks that you're in without joining the Slack.
I believe that's still true. I was looking at the settings and I believe that's still true.
Sounds like there's some guidance that we should share with the community.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay, so probably kick that over to comms and say, hey,
yeah,
to do an announcement about this, try to figure out video, something else.
Yeah, we can discuss in the comms channel how we want to send it out, what we want to write up. Maybe it should live somewhere on GitHub as like a contributor.
We have our Slack admin doc, but we don't really have anything for Slack consumers or users. So
some contributor documentation on that.
Yeah, which is kind of an overdue to do, right? Because most of our rules about what is acceptable to post on Slack is kind of buried in other communications docs, which means we can't really blame people for not being aware of it. And I know this has previously been a to-do of having just like a single doc saying, hey, you've joined the Kubernetes Slack, here are the things you need to know. And that we can, among other things, have Slackbot message people with when they join.
We do have that right now, but we don't have a doc that they can just link to. It does give people some TLDR-ish type things when they join.
Yeah. Okay, so let's create a separate issue for that, and actually honestly mark it good first issue, because this is something where somebody who wants to write can easily take the sort of bullet points and turn it into a more accessible document.
I do also recommend, these settings too, by the way, are Slack specific. So if you are in multiple Slacks, even ones that you're not actively logged into, you got to update them in all of them.
Good to know.
Thanks for that privacy nightmare, Slack.
I swear, like the next biggest thing, I just want to be like, screw it, we're going to Discord.
You
Not
know, we've
categorically opposed, and more I'm realizing how true it is that computers were a bad idea.
the yeah, we tried to move off Slack before people weren't into it.
My favorite way to put it is teaching Sand to think was a mistake. Also, Alita says hello.
Yes. Lucy. Hi.
He's trying to attack the cord of my headphones. I should have done cordless this morning, apparently. We'll see if we can get through this anyway. Yes, hello. That is my cord. All right. Sounds like there's some good stuff for us to work out there on Slack. Yeah, we did attempt the Discord thing before, and that never really took off. I would imagine it still exists, though. Anybody wanted to try and do something with it. All right, we'll talk more about that on the comms channel and figure out exactly what comms we want to send out, and maybe start to figure out that documentation as well. Anything else on moderation media? All right. Alita thinks it's time to move on. GitHub management. Any updates there? Silence of a no. All right. No news can be good news. And the last specific item on our agenda, elections. Is there anything going on with elections right now, Josh?
Elections? Are we having an election? The
Perhaps.
yeah, I think the steering elections close in a few hours.
Nope.
No, they closed.
Are they already
yesterday.
closed? They're already
Yeah.
closed. Okay.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen an updated report from the election committee on how many people voted, which they probably won't actually give us until they go over the winners. So
I should probably actually do this because I'm an election officer.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm an election officer. The election closed at the end of the 26th, whenever that was for the last time zone in the world. So not too terribly long ago, less than 12 hours ago. We're working on compiling all of the information. Private notifications go out to steering today. Private notifications will go out to successful candidates tomorrow, and the public announcement will be made the day after that. This timeline is posted on the election page if people want to reference it. So, steering election has concluded and results will be posted soon, along with information about the number of voters and everything. I guess I can share that much here. Everybody cool with that? Yeah, cool. Confirmation is nice. We had 209 voters, 11 exceptions.
What was our total voter count?
209.
Or I meant like potential voters.
Oh, that I don't know. I
It
don't
was
have
like
that on.
700.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. Well, no, I guess we'll get this in the retro. And in the retro, I'm going to ask what type of contributors those exceptions were, because we thought we'd eliminated most of the common exception cases and just automatically included them. So I'm
I
curious
can
about who
say
we're still
that
missing.
I was definitely one of them.
Oh yeah. Oh, because your stuff doesn't show up in GitHub. The okay, but we'll cover that in the retro.
This is actually the first year I did not have to file an exception.
Yep. Do you already have a time and date for the retro?
Yes, it's on the timeline posted on the page. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. Okay.
But I could go find that real quick while we discuss other things, maybe here in a minute. As I recall, I think most of them this time were newer folks to the community who were very involved but didn't have enough contributions yet. for it to automatically make them eligible. We had a few of those, which was lovely to see. Any other questions, comments about the steering election or elections in general? Cool. So notifications about that will come out publicly in a couple of days, and I'll look up when the retro is. If you have any notes for us, please do share. You can either ping the election officers directly, you can ping me directly, or if you want to share publicly, there is SIG ContribEx elections, where you can share feedback or comments with us. All right.
The timeline in GitHub is a little different than what you said.
Yeah.
Says that
I did it from memory, so I might be wrong.
okay, so Sunday was when candidates find out, and then Monday is when everybody finds out. I can look that here.
Let me bring up the election doc real quick.
I just put it in the chat, the page I was referencing.
Sixth, the election closed. Private announcement is today. Sorry, yeah. And then, oh yeah, you're right. Private announcement to the candidates is on Sunday. For some reason, I just thought October 1st was closer than that. And then, yeah, you're right. Public announcement goes out on Monday, October 2nd. Weekends. Thank you very much, Nigel, for looking it up.
Yeah, no problem. I just heard something else from somebody else, so I just wanted to verify.
Appreciate that. And the election retro is scheduled for next Thursday, October 5th. Please do join us in the retro, or share any feedback that you have. We would appreciate it. All right. And so that was our last specific item on our schedule. Now it's open discussion, and we do have one open discussion item on the agenda.
Yes. So I've brought this up a couple times and I keep forgetting to write it down the agenda. So this is my first time I remembered. We have that SIG ContribEx meetings channel on Slack with the threads that get opened every other week. We're not really using it, and I think people get a little confused by it. Can we archive that and or turn off the automation? Is that okay?
The automation was set up by a person, and I cannot turn off their automation.
Oh.
But
okay.
we can archive the channel, which will take care of it.
Which will take care of the automation. Okay, there we go.
So
Do I need to open a ticket on community or something?
It's a PR. So if you go to the Slack channel list and find the channel name, then add archive true, that will
archive
do it.
True. Okay, I will do that. Thank you. That was it.
I'm glad that you remembered. We've mentioned that in the the leads conversation a couple of times, and we keep not doing it. Did we use it much more during the pandemic, though? At one point,
it was an attempt. It was an attempt to try to have asynchronous meetings.
Yeah.
Because this meeting time is not great for some of our SIG members, particularly those in India. And we couldn't come up with, the alternative was to have, for a while we had alternating meetings, one of them being 12 hours away from this one. But the 12-hour away one was very poorly attended. So we tried to do asynchronous meetings via Slack. And the problem is this just didn't work. What they ended up being was a bunch of people posting status updates and nobody reading them. So that still is a problem in need of a solution, right? Because we have, once again, we have, tech leads and chairs who are in the Indian time zone and are not with us. And we don't really have a solution for that.
I'd say it was like actively being used for 3-4 months and then just kind of petered out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really gave it a try, but it really didn't do anything in the end that we couldn't have done just with a Google Doc. So
Maybe we should revisit it in terms of just using the existing notes doc with a different subsection or something.
yeah, the problem is that what's missing is the two-way communication, right? Because people can update statuses on GitHub issues, but what we're missing is the two-way communication. And I'd almost say it might be time to try having an alternate meeting again, although I would leave that up to Nabarun and Priyanka to decide if they want to do that. Because I think we have, for example, more active contributors from China now, and they might have a better turnout. But part of the success of that also depends on some people attending both meetings. Not everyone, but like a few. And because if the two meetings are completely separate, it doesn't help a whole lot. But I think the chairs and tech leads having, now genuinely alternate meetings has been working okay. I don't attend the second one because it's 3 a.m. my time.
There has not been a lot of attendance at the second one yet.
Okay.
The only, it's like in the last one, Mache attended both. We had Guy attended the second one. But right now it's largely just been our hosts. The other people were still interested, but there's still so many people that have basically gone so long with not attending that they kind of just didn't see it, didn't bother with the update. They probably just need some manual poking. Be like, hey, this is available. Come on by.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say for the chairs and tech lead meeting in general, the majority of SIG leads collectively have never attended one. So it's not all that surprising.
The Tuesday one has gotten pretty big.
Yeah, but that would be a good reason for, and again, I can't speak for them. This would totally be in their hands because they'd be running it. But that would be a good reason for them not starting an alternate ContribEx meeting until the chair and TL1 actually gets rolling. But yeah, definitely their thing, and I think we should consider it in the absence of another solution.
Progress. Yeah. Hopefully folks will start becoming more aware of the more APAC friendly version of the chairs and TLs meeting, and maybe we can learn some things from how that goes. And thank you, Laura, for opening the PR to archive the SIG ContribEx meetings channel.
I just LGTM approved it, so theoretically that channel should go away within like the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh, and contributor tweets has been archived. There's just a couple follow-up items.
Wonderful. I'll have to look into that and see what that is.
Oh, it's updating SIG.yaml to remove it and then running make. So
Avinash, you're so good at that. Cool.
I had like as the GitHub admin, I have the like PR basically staged already, so should be done shortly.
Appreciate that, Bob. Skills I should get better at. All right. I like that people seem to relate to that comment. Any other open mic discussion topics, or anyone want to talk about anything that we've talked about today in these last 9 minutes of the meeting? Anything else? YAML all the way down.
Yep.
Always.
Well, welcome to autumn, everyone, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, spring.
Indeed. We were
It's
saying
autumn, where it's only in the 90s here.
Yep.
mid-50s with rain.
And I will say, as an old Perl hacker, I will never stop being tickled that everything is YAML now.
I remember when I first started telling people about Kubernetes, and I would be like, you can use YAML or you can use JSON. It's fine. You can use JSON. No one says that anymore.
I still use it for very complicated things because like nesting gets frustrating.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to poke things directly into etcd
Yeah.
and bypass the Kubernetes API, then you have to use JSON.
There have been a few times when I have said, I should learn YAML. And then I realized that no one actually learns YAML. You do YAML and then you YAML. It's not like there's a zine on YAML, though.
Laura? You're muted, Laura.
YAML. No, I know. YAML, like Yammer, but everyone
Yeah.
does YAML. Yum,
Yep.
yum, 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 yum.
Yep.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was doing yum, 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 yum.
Excellent.
You know, I was having a discussion with somebody about tooling, you know, in the fact that the YAML was never meant to be the actual UI for Kubernetes. Like the assumption was that people would build tools that would generate the YAML that would have an actual like decent UI, which is now happening, but it took a really long time. And I was like, maybe if we'd used an intermediate language that was harder to write, people would have developed tools sooner. And then a friend of mine in Red Hat Java pointed out that they've been using XML for ages and people still aren't writing those tools. So so it wouldn't have helped.
And I am so happy we are not using XML.
Yeah.
Yeah. As somebody who wrote documentation in DocBook XML for many years, I'd be happy to never touch it again.
There were some great tools years ago for you don't have to do YAML, you can just do it graphically or whatever. And none of them took off. I think it took critical mass of people just finally getting sick of YAML.
Well, a big problem ends up being feature completeness.
Yeah.
Which is that when you launch a new tool, it can only do a few of the things that you could actually do in the YAML representation. And then they end up in a catch-22, which is where they don't have enough features for anybody to use it in production, but because nobody's using it in production, they don't have contributors. So, and
Thank you, Laura.
the commercially funded ones like Ballerina are extremely opinionated, and they don't seem to be opinionated in ways that people particularly agree with. So it was just a new one launched recently, actually. That's same model as Ballerina.
I think I've heard of Ballerina.
They were at a bunch of KubeCons in a row.
Okay. That makes sense.
Pushing their thing. And it was this sort of attempt to, I think, unify Terraform and Kubernetes with their own DSL that they layered on top of, of Kubernetes YAML and Terraform JSON. I think Terraform uses JSON.
HCL,
but-
HashiCorp's thing.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people looked at it and they said, I don't really want to learn a third DSL. Right?
Yeah.
So and that's what a lot of those efforts have kind of stumbled on, is that they're just substituting one DSL for another and people don't see the point.
Ballerina's a sandbox project, isn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think they ever went CNCF, but I could be wrong.
Good question.
The
Seems like we're pretty much done with our meeting though. So unless anybody wants anything else on the recording, we'll go ahead and stop the recording so that people can do their screaming privately.
yeah, I mean, we could trim that stuff from the end of the recording, but it's also not anything confidential. So
We don't want to
to
give Nigel more work.
the
All right. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording. We'll say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. Bye, YouTube.